Good morning. I'm Mitch Rosenfield. You've reached my YouTube channel, Free From Pain, where I share the practices I've used to free myself from the chronic pain of illness, injury, and the wear and tear of life. So for today's practice, I'd like to focus on a set called the Wu Pai. In the Tai Chi form called the Wu form, there are these 5 opening exercises, and I really love them because for me personally, they were extremely beneficial in relieving me of the initial back pain I had. And this first one we're going to work on, Wu Pai number 1, was great for immediately relieving pain in my lower back. And so we'll start with that one, Wu Pai number 1. So to begin, this practice is all about a specific way of squatting. So we're going to stand in a medium horseback stance, which means our feet are outside of our hips. So slightly outside the hips, maybe even about shoulder width or a little outside the shoulders. And we want to remember that when we're standing, our feet should be parallel, as though we're standing on railroad tracks. So not pointing outward, but almost slightly pigeon-toed, pointing somewhat in, as though you're standing on railroad tracks. The knees, this is the most important part, the knees don't move forward or back. They're slightly bent behind the toes. So always behind the toes, where you can see all of your toes when you look down. And they stay here. So imagine that like you're encased from your feet up to your knees in concrete. Your knees aren't going to go forward, they're not going to go back, they're not going to wobble anyway. Stay right where they are. Slightly bent. Hips over the heels, shoulders over the hips, crown of the head lifted. So now to begin, the important thing also to remember here, it's not about how far down we go at all. This is all about the principle, not about the range. The range will come as you perfect the principle. So for the principle of this, we want to remember that this is an opening exercise. We're going to be putting space between the vertebrae, which unpinch the nerves and relieve the pain. So we're going to do that by taking our tailbone, drawing our stomach in, and letting our tailbone start to drop down. We want to relax ourselves as we do this. So relax the stomach in, let the pelvis slightly begin to tip forward as the tailbone draws down. Now, as you start to squat down, look at your knees. If you see your knees start to come forward, you've gone too far. Bring them back, come back up. So now we're going to get our arms involved with this to help. So let your arms be relaxed, hanging naturally. Again, shoulders over the hips. And let them be slightly turned in front of you, elbows pointed back. And now bring them up to a little bit above the shoulders. Again, now elbows will now be pointed down and the hands slightly pointed towards each other. As we slightly pull down with our tailbone, we let our hands start to come down. As we come back up, palms come up and our hands come back up. So exhale down. Inhale up. Now let's see how this works when we get our range to go just slightly more. So start to bring your tailbone down. Again, draw your stomach in so that your tailbone doesn't go out. You don't want your butt going out or your knees going forward. Your head stays over your knees as well. So your head doesn't go out past your toes, your knees don't go out past your toes. So let's do this. Inhale, exhale, check your knees. If they start to go forward, bring them back and pull down a little more with your tailbone. Let your tailbone sink down a little bit more. If your head starts to come forward, bring it back. If your knees start to go forward, bring them back. And then push off with your heels to come up. Exhale down. Inhale up. So take a moment, relax your arms, take a full breath. And now let's go back to trying this without the arms. So really become aware of your knees. Let the bend begin right here where the top of your legs hit the bottom of your torso. That's where the fold begins as your tailbone pulls down, instead of starting with the knees. When the knees go forward, you put pressure on them and you hurt them. So let's gently begin to bring the tailbone down. Keep the head back, the knees back, come down more, come down more, come down more, come back with the knees, come back with the head, come back up. Inhale, bring the arms back into it. Exhale, come down. Inhale, come up. And just gently work with this, coming down a little bit more. Sometimes it helps if there's like a counter or a bar you can hold on to help keep you aligned as you come down, keeping your knees back and your head back. You never want your rear to go back like that. You want to just keep it going straight down, coming back up. The minute you feel your knees come forward, you've gone too far. Come back up. Until finally you can continue, continue, continue. Just gently work with it, always checking your alignment. Feel that opening in your lower back, especially as your tailbone releases downward. It puts space between every vertebrae. Bringing it down, coming back up. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Come back to the standing position. All right, again, the goal with this is to put space between the vertebrae. Hope you liked it. If you do, hit like. If you know somebody that can benefit, hit share. On the next one, we'll work on the second Mu Pi. And so, till next time, from a place of love, I wish you peace.